we talk a little bit about something that Ben brought up earlier was the boundaries are a really important thing in life and in AI. Can you talk about, as enterprise companies, how you think about keeping the things secure and running while also allowing your users to explore kind of new concepts and all the challenges that are associated with kind of those forces?
I don't know if I'm lucky or not, but there's a whole team that has to handle that.
Nice.
So we don't even get a chance. We actually we'll present the tools, and someone else will go have all the checks and the governance and like FedRAMP and the SOX and all the other HIPAA and all the other compliance constraints around that. So by the time we actually get the approved tools, someone else has already checked all off. But that being said, just making sure that developers have access to it. That's where it comes down to. Even if those guardrails we didn't already have those processes in place to control that, we still have to, make sure that those things are suddenly available, and the connecting everything up. And, so that's our struggle then is, implementing. So that's where we run into it.
I have a different experience because I've worked in national security and anti-terrorism stuff my whole career, and so I was the FedRAMP architect.
So you were the one making the decision.
I was the one working on all that. Went through a large journey there. In particular, everything in security comes down to a risk analysis of what do you have to gain and what do you have to lose. So a lot of the decisions that you make, especially as a startup, you start off with looking at the valuation. At least the way I look at it is you look at the valuation of your current company and you said, if I leaked all this data, how much am I losing and who do I be losing it to and how much do they have? So it's decisions like when you're a startup of 3 people, you use Heroku. When you're at 500 people, you stop using Heroku and you say, no, I'm going to go depend on Microsoft. I'm going to go depend on Amazon. I'm going to depend on someone that's got billions and billions to put into security research and those types of trade-offs. And you have to look at that when you come to AI, is that you have a startup of 3 people. Do they have a team of security professionals attempting to do pen testing on every release? No. Does Amazon? Yes. So a lot of us have to wait until which I'm sure we do. We have to wait until it's hit the scale where the bigger companies like Amazon has gone through and been able to put their name on it, where they're like, we will put our name on the security and the protection and the practices and the compliance because we spend I think Google spends like $1 billion a year or more. Sorry, that number's way out of date, but they probably spend $1 billion at least on security every year at Google, and it's like that's so much more than the budget of these smaller companies. Because it's a risk trade-off. That smaller company has very little to lose compared to Google. So a lot of it comes down to, for Skydio, a lot of the value is in our code. We have autonomous AI algorithms and modeling that nobody else in the world has that are able to do things with drones that nobody else in the world can do. Losing that would be bad. So a lot of looking at like AI stuff is saying, well, like we need to be careful with our code base and who has access to it and where it can go and leak. And that's been a challenge historically for the early AI adoption because you don't have nearly as much control or guarantees. You can't say there's been 5 years of security research done on a particular AI model. Or rather not the AI model, but the company that's hosting it and pulling in the data to know that they're really not actually just leaking it or that there's some issue. So yeah, I'd encourage for anyone is just to really do an evaluation of what you have to lose.